Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking beyond just the amazing art of ancient Egypt.
Hmm.
We're diving deep into something maybe more fundamental, the psychology of, well, getting through the end of life.
Yeah, and the sources we're using, they're quite something.
They really are. They don't read like history text at all, more like an emotional guide.
Almost like a meditation on dealing with that ultimate uncertainty.
Exactly. So, our goal here, what we want to figure out, is how this figure, Anubis, moved beyond just being, the jackal-headed god image,
Right.
and understand his role as this incredibly powerful, comforting guide. How did he actually work emotionally, psychologically, to help people face that fear of the unknown?
Well, you have to start with the problem he solves, right? The sources really lay it out. They call it the shadow of the end.
The shadow of the end.
Yeah, and it's basically, imagine that deep fear of what happens next, that unknown.
We've all felt that on some level.
Absolutely. But for the ancient Egyptians, this wasn't just like vague anxiety. The stakes were incredibly high.
Higher than just ceasing to exist.
Oh, much higher. That shadow wasn't empty darkness. It was the duat, the underworld, a place with specific dangers, trials.
Like the weighing of the heart.
Exactly. And monsters like Amet, the devourer, waiting if you failed, so you could face complete oblivion. Anubis then becomes the structured answer to that specific, terrifying chaos.
Okay, that context is vital. Because the sources, they don't shy away from the reality. They talk about the embrace of the night.
Death comes. It's inevitable.
Right. No way around it. But, and this seems crucial, the journey doesn't just stop there in confusion. The moment the soul is facing this landscape,
This mythological reality.
that's when the guide steps in.
The intervention begins.
Okay, so we have the established terror of the duat. Then, as the text put it, the guide in the shadows arrives. Anubis appears. What does that arrival signal? What does it mean for the soul right then?
It's like flipping a switch, instant panic reduction.
Really? Just his presence.
Yes, because it shatters that terrifying isolation. Suddenly, you're not alone. You have support. The sources really paint him in this dual role.
Which is,
Protection and reassurance. Protection from those specific duet threats we mentioned, and reassurance that you haven't just been, abandoned to fate.
he's described as a light in the darkness.
And that's not just poetic, it's functional. He's the known factor in this terrifying equation.
And one stable point.
Exactly. His presence itself is comfort. It changes that terrifying moment from a solitary ordeal into a guided process. Suddenly there are rules, there's help.
Right. And that shifts from just being scared to being part of a process seems key. Because comfort alone can feel a bit abstract. How does the comfort Anubis offers become something solid, something you can actually rely on when everything's falling apart? The texts say his promise is clear. What's that promise? How does it work?
Okay, so this is where it gets really practical. The promise isn't just don't worry, it's operational.
Operational.
How the sources stress, listen to his words. This isn't just feel-good stuff. Anubis knows the path. He knows the rules.
And his voice is described as
A voice of serenity. Think about it. You're facing judgment, maybe the Hall of Two Truths, the heart weighing.
complex rituals, high stakes.
Very high stakes. You need to know what to say, what spells to use, the right way to declare your innocence. Anubis provides that critical instruction. His serene voice delivers the script.
So the promise of peace is actually a promise of correct guidance, perfect instruction.
Precisely. It turns potential failure into a guided procedure.
That makes sense. It gives the soul something active to do, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just being overwhelmed by fear.
Exactly that. You're focused on listening, responding correctly, following his lead. It actively mitigates the panic by providing a task.
And it's not just words, is it? There's a physical element, too. But part always struck me in the text. It says he uses a gentle hand.
Yes.
He helps them. That image, that touch, it feels very direct, very supportive.
That gentle hand is so important. It literally anchors the soul.
Anchors.
Yeah, think about the transition. It's profoundly disorienting. Spiritually, existentially. That physical touch, that gentle guidance, it grounds the soul, stops it from just dissolving into the chaos the Egyptians feared.
Like a steadying presence.
It is the steady hand leading you physically through the stages, towards the judgment, towards Osiris.
Okay. It provides focus then, like you said, shifting from panic to process. So if we connect this guidance, the words, the hand, to the final result, it has to mean more than just getting through the trial.
Oh, absolutely. It guarantees continuity. The whole point of the guidance is to transform the end from annihilation into the journey forward.
The journey forward.
Anubis ensures there is a path. He makes sure you don't get lost, don't fail. His presence, his help, guarantees that the soul becomes an Akh.
The Akh being
A fully realized, effective, blessed spirit, able to function and thrive in the afterlife.
Okay, so that's where the real emotional payoff lands for the soul. Certainty. Certainty of continuing and certainty of not being alone. The texts wrap this up as the hope of eternity, and they define that hope very specifically. The soul will never be alone. That feels huge.
It is the absolute core relief, isn't it?
Yeah.
It tackles not just the fear of death, but the fear of eternal isolation, of being utterly forgotten and abandoned.
Anubis just wipes that fear away.
Completely. He guarantees that the entire experience, judgment, transition, arrival, happens with a guide, an advocate, almost like a friend.
So that must have had a massive impact on the living, too. I mean, the community that created and believed in this figure.
Oh, definitely.
They essentially designed an afterlife with structure, support, and a successful outcome built in.
Precisely. That's why Anubis leaves this enduring legacy. He's not just for the dead, he's a beacon of hope for the living.
How so?
It structures their grief. When people thought about their loved ones passing, they weren't just imagining, a terrifying void.
No, they pictured Anubis.
They pictured this gentle, managed transition, a knowledgeable guide leading them carefully by the hand. It reframes death not as abandonment, but as being led towards safety, towards eternity.
So, to kind of wrap up our deep dive here, the picture these sources paint isn't the Grim Reaper figure we might instinctively think of. Anubis is actually the solution to the fear.
He really is.
He's that calm voice, the reliable instruction, the guaranteed path when you're facing the biggest unknown. He embodies comfort, serenity,
and that essential hope of eternity.
Yeah.
Which leaves us with a pretty interesting question to mull over, doesn't it?
Go on.
If this ancient concept, Anubis, is so completely focused on providing that gentle hand, on eliminating the shadow of the end through clear guidance and companionship, especially during such a high-stakes transition, what does that reveal about our fundamental human need?
A need for structure, for support when things end.
Exactly. A need for a managed, supported process during profound change. And given how we today often try to secularize death, maybe minimize ritual, you have to ask, what modern ideas or guides or even cultural habits are trying to fill that same deep emotional role? What provides that clarity, that companionship that combats solitude when we face our own major transitions?